For this lesson, you need to recall that the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height, and we're going to let A be the area, B is the base of the triangle, which is essentially any side that it sits on, and H is the height of the triangle, but it absolutely must be perpendicular to the base. So that height can be within the triangle or outside of it, depending on the type of triangle you have. What we're looking at specifically, though, is what happens when you are not given a value of H. Well, something that we were able to do earlier in this lesson was figure out a value of H based on our trig ratios. Remember that I can take sine of an angle and I can let it equal opposite over hypotenuse. For this one, we could say the sine of A is also opposite over hypotenuse. And if I solve for H, I would find that it's C times the sine of A. And just like when we were proving law of sines, we could rotate these triangles and calculate H being dropped from any one of the angles. So if I use this value of H and I substitute it back into my equation, what I find is that the area, and your textbook uses a cursive A, is 1/2 of the base times C times the sine of angle A. And that will be the equation that we are using. We don't only need C times the sine of A to represent the height. Depending on the way that our triangle is sitting, if, for example, the base of that triangle is side A, then the height would be C times the sine of B. Or it could be B times the sine of C, simply depending on where everything sits. You do need to remember these formulas. Please note that in each case you have 2 side lengths and the angle between them. 2 side lengths, the angle between them, 2 side lengths, the angle between them. There will be times when you are given other information, but in order to use this formula, you absolutely must have side angle side. I have stated this caution repeatedly, but whenever you possibly can, use the values that they give you in order to calculate other values. Sometimes you have no choice, but if you have the choice to either use a value you calculated or a value that you're given, choose the given value. This way it eliminates the possibility of making rounding mistakes. So let's start the first triangle. We are given angle E at 127 and then sides D and F. So I have 2 sides and the angle in between them. If I'm not sure about that, I can always sketch the triangle. Side D here is 12 and side F is 9. So I see that I've got side angle side, and I can use my area formula. So area is 1/2, one side which is 9, the other side which is 12, times the sine of the angle. I can plug this entire thing directly into my calculator, and when I do, I find that the area is equal to 43.126, and in this case it's square feet. When I take a look at the next triangle, something that I should notice is that I have 2 angles and only one side. So I will have to actually do some additional work before I can use that area formula. So I'll draw my triangle. So the first thing that I want to do is calculate the value of angle A. And I get that to be 48 degrees, 20 minutes. Now, I still don't have side angle side. So what I will need to do is find either the length of side B or the length of side A. And I'm going to be breaking my biggest rule in not using calculated values, but in this case, I have no other option. I have to use this calculated value in order to find one of those other sides. I will choose to find side B, not for any particular reason. So I will have to use law of sines to do that. And I notice that I have angle A and side A, so that's where I'll start. So here's sine of A over A. And then I have sine of B over B. And from here I will cross multiply those values, divide here, and when I plug that all into my calculator, I find that side B is equal to 36.962. Now I've got a side angle side. Here's side, angle, side. And I can calculate the area. So the area will be 1/2 my first side of 32.5 times my second side, which is 36.962, times the sine of 73 degrees 30 minutes. And I will put that whole thing directly into my calculator. Now when I put this into my calculator, remember this value that I calculated? If I type in, and I'll put this down here, if you hit the second button, and then the button that's the negative sign, what it will pull up is ANS. It will fill that spot with whatever the last value that it calculated. So in this case, the last value that I calculated was this number. So if I hit second ANS right here, it'll put in the whole number, and then my value is rounded a little bit better, and I don't have to type in all those numbers. Now, back to the area. Once I've done this, the area is 575.898 square centimeters.